Are you also planning to take a short time loan on your smartphone to meet small expenses? Well, there is news for you. You must have heard of stories of predatory practices by unregulated loan apps where defaulters or even just users who have even paid back their dues suffered from cyberbullying, intimidation, financial frauds taking place in their name. Now RBI has gone a step forward than just issuing an advisory. It is constituting a working committee to study the entire regulated as well as unregulated digital lending sector itself to form a safe place. I am Amrutha, you are watching TV9 News, and in this video we will discuss what RBI intends to do, what are the loopholes in the current system which is enabling the abuse by illegal loan apps, and also whether consumers are being given enough representation. Finally, also focusing on how China tackled the problems of illegal loan apps. S. Narendra, banking analyst from Bengaluru, explains to us some of these questions.
Number one, the loopholes are, see, they're talking about the mandate says evaluate digital lending activities and assess the and standards of outstanding lending activities of RBI regulated entities. It says very clearly. So number one, I mean the point is that all the whatever that we are seeing, the issues of the mobile apps and online apps is
Yeah.
that they are all entities which have not gone into the right route of becoming either registered with a bank or with an NBFC. Even as late as June 4th, 2020, they have come with a full discussion paper and they have told these intermediaries like NBFCs and banks should put up fair practices code. That is, who are the bankers, who are these NBFCs, and what are the KYC involved, and with whom they are having a relationship as a outside entity.
Narendra, like you said, these sort of illegal apps don't come under either NBFC, RBI. So, under what circumstances can these illegal apps be regulated in any way?
It can be done. Number one, whatever, like how we banned the Chinese apps, and some other reason, some other like industries, what mean the central government took action. First, they should be banned. So we cannot have a working group set up with a 3 months mandate to understand now after the event is over. It is like how the cooperative banks now we realize the PMA episode or the local flavor Sri Guru Raghavendra Cooperative Bank. Not that the rules were not there because RBI is not coming under the RBI purview. There were overlapping guidelines and legal enforcement from the local authorities, the state government, because it was coming under the Cooperative Act. So these things were there. So now we have realized that now we are trying to fit the rules and now we are trying to assess. The RBI has done a lot of work on P2P. So what you are talking about is that. So P2P, the consultative committee was there on 24/7 2017 itself. And 2018, the law came, the RBI has given directions, not guidelines. So it is directions from the RBI that P2P should be registered. So these companies, entities should register.
So finally, Narendra, let's talk about China, where currently the problems in Indian apps, loan apps have emerged. So in China, 2012 there was a similar concern, and in 2016, finally the government over there cracked down on these illegal loan apps because they were threatening, first of all, the financial stability, the lending sector, the traditional lending sector, and the social stability as well. So they came up with a very long worded some office called Internet Financial Risk Special Rectification Work Leadership Team Office, giving peer to peer lenders 2 years time to clear their outstanding and exit the industry, which has more or less killed the digital lending sector, except for Alibaba and Tencent continue to grow here. So should India go the China way, or should India take a more comprehensive approach?
But the measures what they have taken may not only apply to our type of a country where you have more sound financial structure and we have very good systems and practices in place, especially because the structure is so big and we have grown evolution from the commercial banking setup to the private bank, scheduled cooperative bank, NBFCs, MFIs, HFCs. We have a wonderful checks and balances for the banking as a whole. So we require instead of that, a holistic approach and a balanced approach where how to integrate this and how to ring fence for this unauthorized kind of transactions and come out with sound measures like how the Sukumar Chakravarti report came up, some 15 years back, where you encompass the scope of the mandate and then find out how to regulate these entities from legal angle and especially from the data angle. Data piracy, data preservation, and because data leakage is the issue here.
Now, here are the key highlights from the interview. The RBI panel has 3 months to submit a report on digital lending apps, which Narendra says is too much of a short period. Reading between the lines, Narendra also pointed out that the mandate mentions evaluating digital lending activities in RBI regulated entities only. Narendra is worried that the scope of the study may be narrow and may not become a bigger canvas, which is required. Activists on the other side fighting for the victims of digital lending apps are worried about consumer representation, but Narendra says such redressal platforms already exist. Now, Narendra suggests that banning these illegal loan apps will be best for relief in the immediate term. Then forming a long-term plan might be important. What are your experiences with loan apps? Do let us know in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching TV9 News.